Peace and blessings, guys. So, we're going to talk about food addiction linked to sex addiction, linked to mental illness, and what's plaguing societies all around the world when it comes to fast food, when it comes to the pleasures of this world and the pleasures of what's going on in today's society. A lot of kids are stuck on fast food and they're addicted to fast food. And there's studies that I've done and research that I was doing that people are, addicted to food because it's the chemicals that release in our brain that gives us pleasure. Is the same sex pleasure that we get when we, have intercourse and we have sex and we do all these different acts. It's the same pleasure that the food gives us too as well. So we have to be mindful of that. Fast food is addictive because its engineered combination of sugar, fat, and salt triggers powerful dopamine releases in the brain's reward center. So every time you eat, your brain is getting reward. It's like it's pleasureful, it's pleasureful, it's pleasureful to eat, especially the little kids. All day they're swiping on Instagram, they're swiping on TikTok, they're getting that dopamine release. So the next thing, what happens is if they can't get pleasure from watching, TikTok and having these dopamine releases, they want to seek out food. So then they get the food, and what happens when they get the food? And they're not being pleasured anymore by that food, or they can't eat anymore because, the parents said, hey, no more food, or you said no more food for yourself. Now you're going to go into what? Trying to pleasure yourself and get that spike. And that's where we get the sex addictions. The sex addictions happen too because the same release that you're getting from the food and that you're getting from the being stimulated from the social media and swiping and all this stuff, you're going to get it from the pleasure. So now the little kids are going to start, touching themselves. They're going to start doing these crazy things trying to get that dopamine release and feel good again because it's a feel good chemical that's being released. And that's something that we all have to be mindful of because they are engineering this food a certain way. The same thing with social media and our devices, they're being engineered towards us in a certain way. And the proof's in the pudding. I have all the information right here if you want to read it and do your research yourself. This is something that everybody's plagued with, especially when it comes to fast food and the dopamine releases that we get from the sugars and the fats and all this stuff. They're engineering this stuff, and that's part of the spiritual warfare that we have to go through out here. And then when it comes to our phones, everybody's on TikTok, everybody's on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and they're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling like zombies. That's releasing dopamine to you as well. Especially when you look at all these platforms, they're not providing any good insights to people. You have a bunch of people fighting, arguing, dancing, showing a bunch of crazy things to us. So it's like imagine giving your kid, a cell phone device, locking them in a room and showing them nothing but violence, showing them nothing but sex, showing them nothing but blood gushing out of people's heads and faces. What are you doing to that kid? You're putting that kid through brainwash and program, and then you get them out of that closet in 2 to 3 years, and you wonder why these kids are the way they are, why these kids are so messed up nowadays, why they're being disobedient to the parents. They don't have no respect because for the last whatever many years, we threw them in a closet. People threw them in a closet, fed them junk like these foods, these fast foods, and turned the light off and let them watch anything they wanted to. And we want to know why these are plaguing our communities. These things are destroying our people, and we need to be mindful and we need to know what the kids and what we are consuming that's going to, either do good to us or do bad to us. So you need to learn how to understand where your food addiction, your sex addiction, and your mental illness comes from. It all stems from the one thing. There's a battle that we're doing out here in this world. And if you're walking on the righteous path with God and Jesus Christ, you're in that same battle. Or you're over here promoting the bad stuff to the people And all they're doing is trying to destroy God's people, destroy God's creation. And you being awoke and being awake and you're watching this video, it's time for you to wake up and do something about it. You can say, I'm just one person. It takes one person to make change. God left the 99 to find that one, and that could be you watching this video, that you can make that change and you can spark something and you can change something in someone else's life. So we just want to be mindful of what's going on out here in this world with the addictions. And that kind of answers a lot of questions for you guys, why these kids are already, having intercourse at a young age, why they got mental illnesses going on, why, this and that. Let's focus on knowing who we are at the end of the day. Let's focus on talking to the children more, talking to each other more, instead of being on these social media platforms that's destroying us. And if you're going to feed yourself something positive, uplifting, that's going to feed your spirit in the right way. Don't try to destroy yourself with all these toxic things, toxic food, toxic, social media, toxic words going through your body. That's going to produce, bad fruits and bad works within yourself and within your body. So let's just be mindful for that. I just wanted to get on here, talk to you guys about food addictions linked to sex addictions, linked to mental health. And we need to figure out what we're going to do about this. And not a lot of people are talking about this. So be that one person that's going to talk about it. Be that one person to make a change. And remember, Jesus Christ died for your sins, and he died for all of us because he loves us. And I love you guys. That's why I'm out here trying to spread this knowledge and spread this truth to you guys, so we can open our eyes and we can talk about it, so we can be aware and we can fight back in the spirit. Peace and blessings.